Okay, let's talk about the for each next loop. So in the last example, we could have used a for next loop to add names to our list box one by one via looping. This seems more efficient but requires some advanced knowledge. We must know and specify the number of elements. So in other words, remember in a for loop, you have to say say how many times you're going to go through the loop, right? You're going to go through it 5 times or 6 times or 3 times or whatever. But if we're going to do it for here, we would have to know in advance that the array is going to have 4 elements, right? So we would tell it to go through it 4 times, the loop 4 times. But sometimes we don't necessarily know how many elements are going to be in the array. So we have another kind of for loop called the for each loop. So VisualBasic.net provides the for each next loop for this job. This loop structure is similar to the for next loop, repeated execution of a set of statements. However, it automatically visits each element one by one from the first to the last, in our case from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3, right? The Visual Basic syntax for the for next loop is for each element name as data type in structure. Well, let's see an example of that. Not that one. Oh, yeah. Now he's changed this to my friends, but it was originally just friends, right? So whatever. But it's not. Whatever. Anyway, I think he's talking about an array called my friends. Okay. So we do this for each. We just call this friend name, and you can use any variable name here you want as string. These are all strings in my friends. So my friends is the name of the array. This can be anything you want. It doesn't have to be friend name. It could be X. It could be whatever you want. It could be Y. It could be anything. And then you will use that down here, whatever you happen to call it. Let's see, here's an example. Here's a more clear example. So here we have the friends array. We declare it, then this is called populating it. Means give it values, give it 4 values for the 4 elements. And then we're going to do this for each loop. So for each f, remember I said you can call it anything, so here he's calling it f, as string, because these are all strings in this array, in friends in this array. And then what did we want to do? We wanted to add each of these, add Fred, Betty, Barney, Dino, that is add friends 0, friends 1, friends 2, friends 3, to the list box. So here we're adding to the list box, the name, .items.add, and this f will refer to the first element in friends. Then as it goes through again, it'll refer to, or maybe I should say to the 0th element of friends. Then it'll refer to the first element of friends, then the second, then the third. Well, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, it's actually the 4th one, right? So that's how you do it. Anyway, notice this is for each f in here, so this actually refers to an element in this array. It's not like anyway, it refers to an element in the array. So let's go back to this again. So for each element name and then you put the data type in the array, in the structure, and then you do something, and then next. Here, element name is a loop variable of type data type, i.e. string, which is used to store the current element in each loop cycle. So it's used to store the first element of our array, and then the second element of our array, and so on, f, or element name, right? In is a Visual Basic.net keyword that specifies to look in this structure. So, okay, and pass elements of data type of type data type to this variable, right? to this variable element name. Let's look at a flowchart, an example. So, example, add each friend name in array friends to our list box. We use the for each next loop with the loop variable friend name and the array friends. So we're going to call it friend name in, he says friends, but he's using my friends here, so it's not right, but okay. And here's the VB.NET code, but it really should be just friends here, right, with a small f. The for each next loop's flow is shown by using a flow chart. So we check, are there more elements to do? If it is, we pass the next element's contents to element name. So we pass the first array element into friend name, and then we do the statements, and then we go back here. Are there more elements in here? Or so we go back, if there is, we put the next element in here into friend name, and then we do the statements now again, and then so we do the statements, and we come up again. Are there more elements to process? If so, then we put that into friend name, and then do something to friend name, and keep going until finally there are no more elements, and then we end the loop. Our loop is automatically executed 4 times. In effect, it's for I equals 0 to 3, step 1. So that's the alternative way to write it without the for next. But you'd have to change the statements to be processed as well. In cycle I, friend name equals friends I. So I guess we could, in cycle 0, friends 0 would become friend name, and so on. This is kindly done automatically for us. After 4 cycles, we have no more elements, and the loop is finished. Okay, and here's the example. So go ahead and do this, and make sure that it works. We already discussed how it works. Here it is. For each f in friends, list friends.items.add f, right? And it'll go through all of the elements of friends if you do this. Okay, so do that, and then we'll come to the next video.